Hello, my dear friends, welcome back. Today's story is about kindness, the small, quiet kind that doesn't ask to be repaid, and somehow finds its way back to you exactly when you need it most. Stay till the end, because this one might just change how you look at every small act of kindness. You do without thinking twice. So here is the story. In a busy little town, there lived a man named Vikram. He worked at a small hardware shop, lived a simple, ordinary life, and every single morning, before opening the shutters of his shop, he did one small thing without fail. He placed a portion of food on a folded newspaper by the roadside for a scrawny street dog that always waited there. The dog had no name in the beginning. He was just one of many strays that wandered the lanes, thin, hesitant, flinching whenever someone raised a hand. But Vikram never raised his hand. He simply set the food down each morning, said a few quiet words, and went about his day. Slowly, the dog stopped flinching. Slowly, he started waiting in the same spot each morning, tail low but hopeful, eyes following Vikram's shop shutters as they opened. Vikram began calling him Pura for his dusty brown coat. He didn't take him home. He told himself the dog belonged to the street, that this was simply a small kindness, nothing more. But every single day, without missing one, Vikram fed him. Rain or shine, festival or ordinary Tuesday, Pura had his place by the shop, and Vikram had his quiet morning ritual. Then came the accident. It happened on an evening much like any other, a speeding vehicle. A moment of chaos, and Vikram's world went dark. He survived, but the injury to his head had damaged his eyes beyond repair. The doctors were gentle but honest. His vision was gone, and it would not return. The weeks that followed were the darkest of his life, in every sense of the word. Vikram, once independent, now needed help simply to walk from one room to another. His shop stayed closed. Old friends visited less and less as the months wore on, unsure of what to say to a man who could no longer see their faces. But someone else hadn't forgotten him. Pura, who had waited outside the shuttered shop for days without understanding why his mornings had changed, eventually found his way to Vikram's home. Some say a neighbor guided him there. Others say the dog simply followed the scent of the one person who had never once turned him away. From that day forward, Pura refused to leave. At first, Vikram's family tried to keep the dog outside, worried he'd be underfoot, worried about mess and responsibility neither of them had time for. But Pura would sit by the door for hours, patient, silent, waiting, and slowly something remarkable began to happen. When Vikram reached for his walking stick, Pura would position himself just ahead, letting Vikram rest a hand on his back instead. When Vikram stumbled near the front step, Pura would press against his leg, steady and firm until he found his footing. When Vikram sat alone in silence, missing the world he could no longer see, Pura would simply rest his head on his lap and stay. Nobody had trained him. Nobody had taught him how to guide a man who could no longer see the way ahead. He simply remembered who had never once looked away from him when he was hungry, invisible and alone. And now, when Vikram was the one who felt hungry, invisible and alone, Pura refused to do the same. Years later, people in the town would see them together. Vikram walking slowly but steadily, one hand resting on Pura's back, moving through the same streets where a bowl of food had once been placed on a folded newspaper, morning after morning by a man who never once asked what he'd get in return. And that, my friends, is the heart of today's story. We rarely know in the moment which small kindness will matter most. Vikram never fed that dog expecting anything back. He simply couldn't walk past a hungry creature without helping. But kindness, even the quiet, unnoticed kind, has a way of remembering us back when we least expect it and most need it. If you've ever wondered whether your small, unseen acts of kindness even matter, I hope this story reminds you they do. Somewhere, someone, or something is remembering. Thank you for listening today. If this story touched you, share it with someone who needs the reminder. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care, and keep feeding the hungry ones by your door. You never know who's watching and who's waiting to return the favor.